Peptides in nature, peptides in animals, peptides in plants, peptides in food that we're all learning about. So it's really interesting. What peptides really do is consider a signaling molecule.
What are peptides? What do they do? We've heard a lot about peptides out there, and today I've got a very special guest all the way from the US who will talk to us about peptides, what they are, and how they can help you. Welcome back, and today we're here with Dr. Edwin Lee, an endocrinologist. Yes, we actually have an endocrinologist on Balance My Hormones. He's an author and international speaker about peptides and hormones. Dr. Lee has written several books, including his latest book on peptides, and he'll be also part of the latest Discover the Power of Peptides on Saturday, the 3rd of June, 2023, at the Hotel Kinetic in Orlando. So you want to make sure you visit and have a look at registering at theclinicalpeptidesociety.com. So welcome.
Thank you.
We want to talk about what are peptides.
Peptides are small little proteins. They're made of amino acids. We have 20 amino acids. They're like building blocks. They're like Lego blocks. And if you put these separate amino acids together, put it in order, if it's more than 100 amino acids, that is considered a protein. The definition exactly, the peptide and a protein, it's still debatable, but generally over 100 amino acids is classically a protein. Under 100 amino acids is considered a peptide. The FDA just put a new ruling, under 40 amino acids is considered a peptide, but they just arbitrarily threw that out.
Okay, so.
But anyway,
will that change the nature of, I guess, having a different definition of peptides? Will it change the nature of what can be available to patients, or for what you
Yes,
research?
for the United States,
Yeah.
that has made a big difference because they arbitrarily threw that ruling there. So anything over 40 is considered a biologic.
Okay.
This is another
another
stupid
regulatory hurdle.
And then you have to basically, if you want to make a biologic, you need a special license, which is generally for pharmaceutical companies.
And
so
that means you can't have them compounded.
Exactly, over
Okay.
40. It's so stupid. It's like, you got to be kidding.
So some people that watch our channel, they're very much clued up on what peptides are.
Right.
And but your definition is really helpful for those who don't know. Can you tell us some of the names of like the popular peptides and what they do?
Sure.
And what they'd be used for?
So before I tell you several different examples
Yeah.
of peptides, we generally make about 300,000 peptides in our body, and we only understand a fraction of it. So
Okay.
the world of peptides is growing. There are peptides in nature, peptides in animals, there are peptides in plants, peptides in food that we're all learning about. So it's really interesting. What peptides really do is consider a signaling molecule. So it's like a doorbell. Someone rings the doorbell, someone's going to answer the door, whether it's your dog or your wife or your girlfriend, whoever. Someone's going to answer
Yeah.
the door. Peptides really, there's a wide range of peptides. There's not just like one peptide does all. There are peptides that can make you look younger, have better skin.
everyone wants
There's
those.
beauty peptides,
Yeah.
peptides for the immune system, peptides that improve libido, peptides improve your strength, peptides improve endurance, peptides help you lose weight. There's so many different peptides for diabetes, so there's a wide range of peptides.
So what would the difference between peptides, which is a signaling molecule, and hormones be, which also are chemical messengers, are they not, for?
Well, there's a huge difference. So, for example, testosterone has to basically bind onto an androgen receptor.
Okay.
And from there, there's this reaction, and then basically you have protein synthesis. Whereas peptide, it doesn't, there are some receptors, some G protein receptor, coupling receptors, but it's short and very fast acting. So it's really like a doorbell. The doorbell rings, and basically it says, let's fix that damage. If you have like inflammation of your elbow, let's work there. It just knows where to go. So it's really short acting. It does act on a receptor, but it's a little different from a hormone, the classic hormones like testosterone.
Is there a negative feedback loop with peptides?
Interesting. Some peptides do.
Okay.
Some peptides, we really don't understand the mechanism of it.
So one could.
Every peptide is a little different.
Yeah.
So
It's
like
kind of a blanket
GHK
statement.
copper or GHK that carries copper is a natural derived peptide from breakdown of collagen.
Okay.
And when you make GHK, it actually stimulates your fibroblasts to make more collagen.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's a lot of studies. That's one of my favorite peptides.
So GHK copper peptide, that helps with the aging process, helps restore the skin and the hair? Or?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
I do that, because I know a little
Yeah,
bit
you can
about
look
that.
younger. I eat tons of GHK
And
topically.
Topically, okay.
And
Your
I
skin looks
abuse my
great.
body. I swim a lot. I bike a lot in the
Yeah.
Florida hot sun. I don't use sunscreen for over 20 years. And anyway. So.
And just the GHK copper peptide cream. Do you have that compounded or made at your clinic?
I have it compounded, but I'm thinking about making my own brand.
Okay.
Of GHK.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, before you
So-
do.
I suppose that falls, yeah, before I do. Before that falls into,
There's a race.
yeah, well, yeah, big.
I have
yeah,
a little lead.
well,
You have your own pharmacy.
yeah, that's true. But we're not in the compounding phase yet. But
So I have a little lead.
watch the space, though. You don't know. I was gonna say, so with the topicals, though, I guess the regulatory hurdles are a bit less.
Yes,
Because
topicals
they're
are less.
more of a cosmetic.
Versus injections.
Okay, and that's
Yeah,
going to be a bit
versus-
more of a
yeah,
challenge.
Exactly.
All right, so name some of your, I think, favorite peptides that you use to treat patients with.
I'll give you top 5.
Okay.
Number 1 is GHK, outer beauty and inner beauty. The inner beauty of GHK.
With the
is-
copper, not the
Yeah,
one.
Well, generally when you have GHK, it comes with copper there.
Okay.
But the thing is that, by the way, copper itself can help the skin look better itself too. There's
Okay.
a lot of mechanisms on how copper improves better blood flow and helps the fibroblasts. But GHK, they've been studied intensively, and they looked at over like 1,400 different molecules to see what genes can get turned on to repair and what genes can be turned off, like cancer genes, your bad genes. So what molecule can basically improve reparative, and one molecule can actually basically reduce like your bad genes, like cancer promoting genes.
Well, like 2 for the price of 1.
Guess which molecule one?
Oh, it's
Guess
GHK.
which- yes.
You could do both.
Yes.
That's incredible. So that's
So
good.
that's the inner beauty.
Yeah.
Whether topically it works, we don't know.
Like
you-
maybe to prevent skin cancer or melanomas or.
Yeah, there's not enough studies on
Okay.
that.
So we have to keep waiting.
Yes.
What's your next favorite on your list?
I have 5 favorites, but not in particular
Yeah,
order.
that's
So the second one is BPC,
Okay, 157.
157.
All
So
right.
body protection compound, 157. This is a naturally occurring peptide that comes from our stomach. It was actually, I think, was found accidentally by Dr. Pavlov when he did the experiment on the dogs to see what gets secreted when a dog eats.
Okay.
And so he did an experiment where what the dog would eat, but he had a little hole so that the food would come out through the esophagus, and then plugged a tube in the stomach to collect the fluid. And actually, someone tasted it. This is early 1900s, and it immediately fixed dyspepsia, and GERD, reflux. And this is early 1900s in St. Petersburg, Russia. Word got out like crazy. He was a research scientist. He won a Nobel Prize in
Yeah.
digestion in physiology. But everyone knows Dr. Pavlov from
Yeah, the
classic,
Pavlov dogs. Yeah, you ring the bell and then.
classic
no food.
conditioning, right?
Yeah, interesting. And it seems from Russia, lots of peptides have
Oh, a lot of
originated
Russians,
from.
yeah, from Russia, yes. But it wasn't until 1993 that it was isolated from
Okay.
Croatia, and BPC got basically published, and they've done tons of research in Croatia with BPC in animals.
Okay.
Not one human clinical trial in humans, although the bodybuilders have been using BPC like crazy to help with recovery and injury.
Okay.
So if you injure your shoulder
Yeah.
from weightlifting or from whatever, they would inject BPC because they noticed the animal studies they did well. So they've been doing it for 20 years plus.
It's
So
always-
it's interesting. I actually decided I'm going to publish an article. No, I'm waiting for someone else to publish. And it's like, so I had this medical student. I know his parents well, and he wants to get to medical school, and he wants to publish a paper. I'm trying to teach him about
How to
things.
pu-
He doesn't
yeah,
care.
yes,
He
yeah.
just wants to publish.
So it's, yeah.
So I said, let's write a paper. Let's do a
Well, that's,
retrospective trial and look at my patients. You call all my patients that I injected this peptide
Yeah.
in their knees. I'm the first one that published a paper on basically BPC on basically
And humans.
in knee pain.
In knee pain.
And basically 14 out of 16 had significant improvement after one injection of BPC.
Oh, that's incredible.
From meniscus tear to ACL tear to osteoarthritis to all different, I mean, I'm not orthopedic, so it wasn't like all ACL tears, all meniscus tear, or
all
labral tears. It was this garden variety of knee pain.
That's
I'm
a good
really excited
outcome.
about that.
Can it be used orally? Because you said
You can use oral BPC too, use a ton of that. So
Okay.
After I inject, I tell my patients to take oral BPC because that will help recover. So I have a text from one of my patients. He was my roofer. Sent a beautiful text and basically referring all his other friends to come to see me because he's a big golfer.
Yeah.
And his shoulder is the best
I got
after
some-
being told you need a shoulder replacement.
Wow, I need to get my shoulders looked at. It's hard to even lift my hand over my head.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a tendinitis, upper bicep tendinitis, but who knows? Well,
I
but I could use some
inject
BPC,
peptides, yeah.
157.
So BPC, GHK, I love thymosin alpha-1.
Okay.
Very hard to get these days because of FDA.
Oh, because
is
of the
shutting
thing
down.
around COVID and
Some idiot compound pharmacies said we can cure COVID with thymosin alpha-1. And you never should ever say cure and COVID in one sentence.
Yeah, with the FDA especially. If
Oh,
you make
they
claims.
went bananas. And I try to start this organization, save peptides, and I've lost a lot of sleep trying to raise money and awareness.
How's it going on that organization? Are you getting anyone to?
I mean, people will sign, but you need a lot of money to donate. So,
Yeah.
And what's sad is the compound pharmacy is zero. I mean, they say yeah, we're interested, but they never contribute. But anyway, that's enough.
Enough of that.
So thymosin alpha-1 is a natural peptide
Okay.
that occurs from our thymus gland. We have thyroid, and then thymus is basically a small gland that's in front of your heart and between your lungs. And as we get older, our thymus gland shrinks. But thymus gland, amazing. It secretes different peptides, and one of the peptides is TA1 that helps your immune system. So if you're sick, you take thymosin alpha-1 and it boosts up your natural immunity, and it basically helps you
That's
recover
interesting.
fast. Yeah.
Do you remember seeing that study a few years back where they looked at the thymus gland as almost like a molecular clock to see if they can turn back its time, its age by injecting a growth hormone, I think of some zinc, vitamin D3, metformin to counter some of the effects of growth hormone, and they found that it kind of reverted.
It was DHEA,
DHEA is another,
metformin, and human growth hormone.
whole
And the
cocktail.
thymus gland basically improved. They're doing their second trial.
Okay.
The first trial was very short. It was very small. So I've talked to Dr. Horvath. They're doing a second trial.
So that's exciting.
So Dr.
then.
Fabry.
He's one of the authors then on the paper. Okay, we'll put a
He
link.
wouldn't give me the
credit.
dose.
Oh, dose.
Well, not the dose. He wouldn't tell me what the IGF-1 levels were.
Okay.
I sent him an email, and usually people don't respond.
Yeah.
I just threw him an email, and he responded back. So I threw some simple questions.
Yeah, within the higher end of normal, or just in the normal range? I guess it depends on the age for IGF-1.
Well, after going
Yeah.
through some emails, like, oh, thank you for responding back. Later down the road, I said, what was your IGF-1? 'Cause
Yeah.
it's not in your article. Usually most people report what the results are.
Right.
Confidential.
Confidential. Sounds a bit dodgy then. Who knows why?
I've
Why
never
is it,
seen her-
why
I've
is it
never
confidential? Who else is on that paper?
Controversial.
Controversial. Okay.
No, not controversial. It's
Confidential. Confidential. Okay. We'll have to see. Maybe in the second paper he'll let everyone know. But does it talk about how much HGH they
Yeah,
give?
they write it in the paper. Huge
Okay.
dose. It's a lot. It's expensive.
Okay.
I was calculating the dose. I was like, wow, that's a lot.
Over a milligram.
Much more.
That's probably a lot of side effects as well. But
They only did 3-4 times a week, but it was a high dose.
all right, we'll get come back to that. But what's the next peptide?
We talked about GHK,
Yeah.
BPC, thymosin alpha-1. I use a lot of peptide called MOTS-C.
Yeah, I've heard of MOTS-C. Yeah.
Yeah, MOTS apostrophe C.
That has to do with metabolism. Is the mitochondria? Is that what it's linked?
Stimulates the mitochondria to work better. So as we get older, we have mitochondrial
Dysfunction.
dysfunction. Anyway,
How do you test for mitochondrial dysfunction? Is there an actual test that you can know if you have mitochondria, or do you just look at the outwardly
well,
signs?
I measure NAD levels, which is
Okay.
But higher NAD helps the mitochondria work better, but it doesn't tell you that the mitochondria is dysfunctional. It's
Dysfunctional.
just one of the substances that go into the mitochondria. Sorry, I don't know a particular test, except that I'm tired.
That's all right. Creatine.
The complaint.
The complaint. You're tired. Yeah, not that you're tired right now. All right, and finally, the last one that you think is
my favorite all time. You gotta stay tuned for the next one.
Okay, keep watching. We'll have you on again. No. What about GDF11? Are you familiar with GDF11? That's a peptide or part of a cytokine, isn't it? And allegedly they did the study with the mice, the old mouse and the young mouse, and the parabiosis, where they linked them together. You're familiar with this? Back in 2014, and so they think that they've isolated, essentially the young mouse got a little bit older and the older mouse had lots of biomarkers of being more youthful, and they've been able to say that was they think it was the GDF11 that was the causative factor, and this is back in 2014. Biotech firm called Alevion has got raised for 40 million, and they're looking at the use of GDF11 as a peptide in patients for stroke who don't recover from stroke.
Interesting. We do therapeutic plasma exchange in my office.
Okay.
So what we do is we hook up 2 large IVs, and it's an expensive machine, but
Yeah.
we remove about 50% of your plasma.
Okay.
We don't give you like young plasma or anything like that. We give you albumin back.
Okay.
But, that's another way to basically get younger and we're doing a study to see if the biological age is being reduced. And so as we get older, there's a lot of things we accumulate we just want to get rid of. But the 5th peptide I was kind of joking about is called epithalin.
Oh, that's another Russian one. Or some people call it pitolon or epithalin.
Yeah, so there's epithalamin, which actually comes from the pineal gland of, let's say, cows, bovine. But the active part of epithalamin is epithalin.
Okay.
So it's a 4 amino acid peptide.
And my understanding is you take this every so often, a few times a year, or there's different ways to, or you take it all the time?
You should take my peptide certification class.
I
do offer a peptide
I'd love to
I
take
think the
that.
pass.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're pretty smart. Yeah. So,
cheers for that.
The reason why I love epithalin is the reason why we age is our cells have a trouble in terms of dividing, self-dividing. So if you want a new skin cell, our body can just generate a new skin cell, but as you get older, it gets harder to make a new skin cell. We cannot self-replicate forever, and I have not discovered the way you could self-replicate forever, because then you have discovered immortality. So I'm nowhere even near that. So I don't even believe in immortality, but the thing is, I believe in quality of life.
Right.
And epithalin is naturally secreted from our pineal gland. And it appears that it's been around since nature for almost, let's say, 500 million years. Because vertebrates and amphibians and mammals, they all have pineal gland. And they secrete melatonin and epithalin. And as we get older, that pineal gland shrivels up. I've been on it for about 3 years. And the remarkable thing is I used to take over 10 years of melatonin just to help me sleep. I don't require it anymore because I got my melatonin naturally up with using epithalin.
Rejuvenated your pineal gland.
But you got to think of this. This is really important. If your cell is basically like here and you want to become a new cell, but it gets stuck because it doesn't have the ingredients to self-replicate, it becomes like a zombie cell. It becomes like a senescence. It releases inflammation. 2 pathways when it's stuck in senescence.
Yeah.
Organ dysfunction or cancer.
Cancer, yeah. I thought you were going to say that.
Conventional medicine's they're really good in treating this dysfunctional cell, trying to make it work better. To me, I have just one picture of a tire stuck in 4 feet of wet, thick mud. And that's what a dysfunctional cell is. You're just throwing nutrition or just basically medicine at this dysfunctional cell. You got to make a whole new cell. You got to make a new tire. You got to get out of that mud.
So you got to get rid of the muddy tire then.
You just don't even go that way. You just go this way and use epithalin. I've seen remarkable improvement. I mean, more studies have to be published on this, but just anecdotal what I'm seeing. People, their pancreas is getting better, they're getting off insulin, the kidney function is getting better, the vision is getting better. It doesn't fix everything. It doesn't make you thinner, doesn't make you happier. It doesn't, if you're like angry at the world, that's not going to change. It's not going to make you money, but the thing is
so it's more of like a long-term, behind the scenes sort of.
Yeah, it'll help your heart work better, help your brain work better. It's truly amazing. Peptides are really amazing.
That's amazing. I like your passion for it. I guess that goes into the senolytics part of your research and the senescent cells, because there were, I think, another peptide, FOXO4, but that's shown is it a bit of negative effect? So it's almost, is it good to clear out too many of the senolytic cells, or is it?
Not enough literature on FOXO4,
okay.
just on animals.
Okay. So
have I tried it? Yes.
Okay. But things like quercetin, is that also supposed to be something that helps with senolytic cells? I think that was part.
Well, quercetin by itself does nothing. So
Okay.
you need it with dasatinib, a cancer drug called it's a tyrosine kinase inhibitor.
Okay.
I have a huge study being published. I can't tell you anything because I don't know the results.
You know the results yet.
Every week I meet with the group. It's so much we're looking not just, we're going into proteomics.
Okay. So
all these different protein markers, and we may find a marker that could be a marker for senescence. I don't know if we can find it.
Yeah.
I think we may need AI to help to go through all this humongous amount of data. Through epigenetics, looking at these markers, there's so many different things that we're looking at. So we're excited about it. I think there is improvement, but with using senolytics, but I think the main point is we need to have a marker to see if you have senescence, because I don't think everyone should take senolytics.
Yeah, they might not.
Because I think in the long run it's going to hurt you. But
Yeah.
if there's a marker to say, hey, you have tons of senescence, go on it for short-term use.
Right.
Maybe 6 months to stop, and then maybe do restorative peptides or something like that.
Okay. Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah, the science is exciting. So far, no one has found that universal marker. What you need is tissue biopsy. You want it in the brain, you need a needle in the brain to see if you have senescence.
Oh, that's fascinating. You're making a big difference in the field.
I don't know. My kids think I'm an idiot, so
if you have,
I don't know anything. So.
Oh, the kids can always be.
Yeah.
But for your patients or people that want to come and see you at your clinic, what's the best way that they can contact you? Or?
Unfortunately, I am swamped.
Okay.
I'm really not seeing any new patients.
Okay.
We do have a nurse practitioner named Morgan and also Becky. And if they just look up dredwinlee.com, they can just basically contact us. And we do see people from overseas. So.
Okay, and they can read your books, and you go to Amazon and find
Amazon, yeah.
We'll put a list of your books in the description, and that'd be
I have
good.
children's books, adult books.
Oh, enough for everyone. Get them all learning
The
about
children's book was to teach the next generation.
about peptides.
No.
Oh.
We didn't get that far.
We didn't get that far. Got to start them young.
But yeah, I know. My kids call it Pepto-Bismol.
Okay. Oh, that's funny.
They're so tired of you talking about peptides.
Peptides. Oh. Yeah, well, it's a,
You're
it's
excited.
it's a passion of yours.
My kids are like, oh my God.
Again, yeah, that's.
Daddy and his peptides.
No.
But I'm so impressed. I mean, people like think about it. It's like someone says, they call my office and say, hey, I've had vertigo for 20 years. It's totally gone. Do you think that peptide helped? Epitalon? I said, I think it did.
It's a good chance, yeah.
You know how hard it is to treat vertigo?
I can imagine. It doesn't sound fun to have vertigo.
Yeah, I mean, it's just disabling.
Yeah.
And you have to learn to live with it. So.
I mean, so it's good if there's something
to see some amazing things. I mean, sometimes you have to take it for a while for it to work. I mean, sometimes it's like you try one pill and it's like you're not gonna. It's not like the cartoons. You fall asleep in 2 seconds. It may take a while for it to kick in.
I think that's the challenge that we have, and I think even you have in the US is, I suppose, getting these peptides readily available. I suppose that's what the society is about, to hopefully make them more available.
Well, our society is really about education. So
Okay.
we have non-physicians that are interested to learn more about peptides.
Yeah.
They can become a member of Clinical Peptide Society, and we have monthly webinars. We talk about the latest. Well, not always the latest, but someone has to get a new speaker. So
Yeah. Oh, you're
a
a good
work.
speaker as well, so we've watched and enjoyed it. So,
Sure.
Anything else you want to say about peptides, or kind of any final thoughts?
Well, check out clinicalpeptidesociety.com, and we have a live class June 3rd in Orlando.
Okay.
Really for healthcare providers, but it's open to anyone just interested.
All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Lee, for coming on, and thanks for everyone for watching. We'll have more content. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.